All right, good evening. This is the Hideaway Hills August 8th or 11th management meeting. We've got Steve Cundiff,
Good job.
Board Trustee President Jim Krieger, myself, Jim Sigafus, Randy Swetnam, our General Manager, JJ Jeffers, committee member, and Rex Everly, committee member. So everyone is present. I will say we are going to interview our 6 candidates for the open position at the next meeting. I have emailed them. I have not given them time slots, but if we could start our meeting at 6, I don't know if that's going to work for everyone. We would be able to give everyone a half-hour time slot and still try to be out of here before too late. So we'll have to talk about that, but let me know.
What day?
What?
Which day?
2 weeks. I think it's the 25th. I want to say, yeah. It's next Tuesday meeting.
So we're going to have a meeting and interview 6
We'll do a short, like we did the last time. We did a short abbreviated meeting, half hour, and then we'll do 6 half-hour interviews. And just knock them all out.
That's what the meeting wasn't adding up from 6 to 7, 6 candidates.
I think JJ and I work together to keep us from coming down.
Yeah. You have to have a job.
Yeah.
I'll be here. Our plan would be at the first meeting in September. We'll, as a committee, decide who we're going to recommend to the board. That way I can take that to the board, the September board meeting. I know that August board meeting is going to be shortened anyway, so I didn't want to hurry this process. We'll present them at the September board meeting. So their first meeting, the first meeting of the individual will be that first October meeting. So I think that's fair. So, how about Randy? You want to walk us through the numbers?
Absolutely. Capital fund total $221,482. Depreciation fund total $201,762. That's the highest of those has been in quite a while, so we're doing well with that. Delinquencies as of June were 19,202. They went down significantly in July to 17,717. Road delinquencies were in June were 1,740, and they went up a little bit because of late fees in July to 1,780. A special assessment account in Popular Bank is the $101,471. The dam repair checking account now has $48,578 for a total of $150,049. I want to make something, I just want to let everybody know that of that $48,578, $10,000 of that is in a CD in the bank, so we only have $38,220 in that account. Our payments are $33,946, and the last 3 to 4 months, we've only been bringing in $17,000 to $18,000.
When are we going to bring the CD in?
Pardon me?
When are we going to cash the CD in?
I can catch it in at any time.
I would move to cash that.
It's matured, it's gone through its cycle.
Pardon me? Oh, yes.
I would go ahead and cash the CD in, and we'll keep the number. Because we got to wait till we get it down to 100,000, and the last 100,000 in bank, we'll just use that account.
Okay. But that still only gives us.
Yeah.
Pretty close there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in September.
Yeah, your payment's 32 months.
33.
Yeah, so it's, essentially 150, you got 5 months there.
Well, but you can't use that 101.
It's something.
To the end.
I think
The last 3 months.
Yeah.
So making payments till then.
Yeah, with the loan that
What's the payment per month? I heard you say
$33,946.51.
the last payment's made.
Yes, next May. Yes.
So you get 5 payments next year, 4 months.
Right.
9 payments.
Right.
About 270K total. And we're still bringing 18,000 for the
Between 17 and 18,
yeah. So you can do it there.
All right, we'll cover the capital and depreciation allocations at the next meeting, reserve funds at the next meeting. I did see the July results today, just because I look at them before everyone else sees them. And we are, July was actually a net loss month, but it usually looks that way because we take in road assessments in the first 6 months. Now we're spending heavily, so it does look that way. But for the year, we're still generating good cash. We've been on plan. I'm really happy with new member fees and assessments this year, so it's all positive stuff. We've got a lot of ground to make up yet. News and notes, Randy.
All right, I will be out of office August 24th to 28th, so I'll miss our next meeting. I'll have everything ready for you and have a real setup for you, so that'll be ready to go. South Central Power update. They keep moving the time back on their start time for the three-phase construction, and now it's back to October. They're waiting on a contractor bids. If it starts in October, I'll be surprised.
See, I'll take that down.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have RFPs or any contract bids yet, and they're in August?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. So, I mean, several weeks ago, they said September, and now they bumped that back to October, and if it happens then, I'll be surprised. Had a good meeting today with Sue Pyle and Dave Parker, talking about lot sales. Talked about watershed lots and the green space lots, and so Dave is going to put a proposal together for the board, hopefully have it ready for the board meeting. He may have it ready for the board meeting this month, but I'm not positive.
Well, it has to go through the committee first before this.
Yeah.
Where you have the HAH committee
Right.
reviewing that. So, no, I want to see if there's more discussion about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been around, looked at the lots, and I already knew the lots, and we recommending taking a lot off of that list so that people looking for lots don't see them and questions about them. I asked them to put a couple of them back on, and so they agreed to that, and so that'll be forthcoming.
I mean, for people's edification, we have this list, which is on our website.
Right.
We have no process for either putting the lot on the website or taking them off. And so that's really a question that we're going through right now.
That's just all lots, right?
No.
So, or that's just all sellable lots?
That's the lots, that's the lots that's been on the list.
You hit it right on the nose.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
lot that's been on the list since I started.
Yeah.
And we've only removed them, we've removed lots because they sold, and we added lots because we took them back. Panacea for a good example.
Yeah.
So,
It's not been a bad process, but we don't have a process either to put them on or take them off.
Right.
So that's what we're reviewing right now, is what's on there.
This next item, pool inspection. They did the pool inspection today or yesterday, I'm not sure which day. But there was no violations whatsoever. They were real impressed with how the pool looked, and I think that probably, I mean, Anna does a great job, but because we haven't had a lot of people in there. So, so that was a good thing.
Just one thing back on lot sales, JJ is on that, he's representing the interest committee on that committee. That's sorry.
Any discussion on news and notes? Okay. Request for expenditures, the boom brushes for the LS tractor.
Yeah, I contacted the company that Rex recommended, and they just got back with me yesterday, but they are considerably cheaper. than what we got from Holtz Ag last year. Holtz gave us a price of, well, we spent $597, almost $600. And there was no freight. He gave us the deal, said, okay, this is what the subsidy's for, I'll go pick them up, you didn't have any freight costs. So that's $600, and the price I got from United Rotary Brush was $460 plus tax. So,
Is that shipped here?
yes, that was great. Yeah, so that's considerably less expensive than what we got from Holtz.
Good. I'll take half of that next month's salary.
Yeah, 0% tax. 0%.
You just paid your salary on this deal, right?
Is there any, so I'm dumb on this, but I went by and looked at it, I knew what it looked like. I mean, is there something we can do to prolong that, or is it just is what it is? I mean, is it something you can turn it around after 20 hours and even them out, or?
They're using it every week on the dam, on the walkway to get the poop off, and plus whatever else they use on the roads. And the chip seal is terrible.
If they get too low, you might get into your chains and get the sprockets.
Yeah, I didn't know if they spin or if they bent, after a while we could turn them around and rotate them, get more life out of them. I didn't know, I just had to.
That's a nylon brush, isn't it?
It's half nylon, half metal.
So, yeah,
It's poly, it's poly.
we want to make a motion here.
Second.
JJ, you good?
Yeah.
Unanimous. Thanks for following up on that, Rex.
Oh, yeah.
Any savings is good savings. All right, discussion items, road expense. So I want to explain these numbers a little bit. That road expense is what we spent out of the 10% out of new member fees that gets put in, again, does it get put into a separate road account, or we just track it? It gets put into a separate road account out of new member fees. So that's a kind of a continuing, ongoing number. We just run it through operations in our budget, but it's kind of a continuing, ongoing transfer because we're continually selling homes and getting new member fees. So the chip and seal accounts are the actual road assessments, and that's really what you want to focus in. We use the road expense stuff for, just our maintenance guys out in the labor, them working on the roads, taking care of stuff. Your budget, I guess, would be the chip and seal account. You're basically 175 there. So far this year we've spent 22,260, correct? We've got 153 left. So. Anything to add to that, Randy?
No, but Rick is wanting to know what his limit is, how much he can spend. I think we talked about that at one of the meetings, and I don't remember what that was. Rick?
Yeah, I'll email it to you
Yes,
tomorrow.
if you would, because, he's wanting to know, he can, power button on the left,
Oh, you're right.
Well, that'll work. That's okay, that's fine. Yeah, I should have shut that off when I plugged that in. I don't think it was running at the time, right? So,
I mean, he's well under. If I remember right, I was wanting him in the 40,000 range.
yeah, that's kind of what we
But I'll
thought too.
pull that up and.
Yeah, if you would, so he knows. There's a lot more to do.
Yep.
And so.
Yeah, the work they're doing though with the HAH is really.
Yeah.
Good places where the problems, at least.
I know going up over to Hill Pass, your house down in North Park area, that's really helped that area.
Yep.
Because that used to be so off camber about when driving the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a great job with that.
And I talked to, we'll get it down to the bottom, so I'll hit that when we get catching.
Okay.
Can we do a better job of smashing it in? Or is what they're doing good?
What I've seen is as good as you can do with the equipment they got.
Yeah.
I mean, without a laboratory steel roller,
Yeah.
and all that will do is smooth it, not.
Well, that's just what I was wondering.
Yeah.
If there was something we could find one in the sale someplace. If we
Yeah,
needed a
we
roller,
looked
or if they made a pull type roller or something just to kind of help give it a smoother finish and help them out a little
We
bit.
did look at renting one, Steve, and we couldn't even find one, and we couldn't afford it if we could have found it.
Would it help if the Cundiff family all went and jumped up and down?
We just need to have
They need big feet.
a dance.
Yeah.
We need some cloggers.
We did,
Big
when we
feet.
were doing our own chip and seal, we did try to rent one and couldn't even find one, and they're pretty expensive.
Well, I didn't know how much weight it took to push it down or anything like that. I was just looking for ways to make it better. I mean, even what they're doing it, running over top of it, it's really not too bad. So it's good.
I don't think our roller would make it up Jim's Hill anyway.
That would be tough. That's a really steep hill.
And then try to get it to stop going down.
It'll slow down and it gets up the other side.
Yeah.
It's hard
All right, sorry about that.
It's hard to know that hill. Absolutely.
Okay, Eagle Claw Lake level. Jim, you sent out the report. I did not read it, just to be fully honest. It's been a busy couple of weeks here in the management.
You've had a lot to do. You've had a lot to do.
But Steve, you did look at it and you have some questions, and Randy, you have any comments? I know we had a member comment that we actually took 30 inches off that lake level, not 12, so I was a little off. My memory's a little fuzzy.
So when was 30 inches taken off of it?
2017,
Years ago.
I believe, was what his email said.
So that was the same year as the inspection?
It was after the inspection.
It was after the inspection, yeah.
They were inspected in 16.
Actually, I think we took it off. We talked about it, doing it in 17, but I don't think we did it till 18.
Okay, so my next
Because we
question.
had trouble getting
You
in.
go ahead with yours and then I'll have questions.
Well, I don't really have anything. The question is, we had two members fight so hard to get that lowered. And where it's at now is basically the level it'll stay at unless we get a lot of rain. Because the sinkholes is what determines the height. It's just with the riser cut, it takes it down to that level quicker. That's the idea. If we get a lot of rain, it'll stay up. If we don't get much rain like we haven't this summer,
So what is our pool level?
about where it's at now.
Do you not know what that is?
No, I do not. I do not.
So you can't tell me how far below pool level we are now?
We're at pool level.
Well, I think he's asking where the riser was.
It's supposed to be. Yeah.
So we're down how far from where the top of the riser is? I think that's.
Right now, it's probably 6 inches below where the riser is now.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't had water going through that riser after it was cut off since earlier this spring.
So the water is going out through these
Sinkholes, yeah.
sinkholes?
Yeah.
And there's nothing we can do with those?
Back in several years ago, quite a few years ago, well before my time, they spent like $163,000 trying to fill those holes, trying to stop that with grout, lime, and they couldn't get it stopped. They did it there and Leaky Lake also.
Okay, so we had some questions on this. Did you get a hold of
Old Lindsay.
I did.
Whoever it
I
was.
follow up with any formal questions because I sent the report to you all as to what you wanted.
Okay, I thought you were gonna check and get clarification.
Well, I talked with her about it and she's available to talk.
Okay.
But if you want to give me, specific questions, because she'll charge us to do that. I talked to her on another issue, which was unrelated, but, so the report is there. She is, we just talked about it, and it's just what Randy said. The sinkholes are there. The sinkholes primarily are going to be, water that's leaching down and through the rock. There's no way to, they tracked it when they put some dye in there. It was like 45 to 50 minutes after they put the dye in the sinkholes before it went through.
How big are the sinkholes? I'm going down there tomorrow or the next day.
I think it'd be easier to see there.
They're
not dramatic.
You can see the sinkholes, but the water is going through below the surface. So you can see down in there probably 5 or 6 inches if you dig down there a little bit. It's where the water's running. You can see it running through those. It's not running over and down through.
And how far is this from the actual dam face?
Oh, a couple hundred yards. No, probably 100 yards.
There's one on the right and the left?
You can't see the one on the right, wherever you're standing from. The one on the right is down in front of Tom Matthews' place. That's where the two are that are noticeable. The ones on the other side, I think we have no idea where they're at.
So there would be no way of, and again, I'm not a dam expert, just asking questions, bentonite clay. If you have a leaky pond, we use bentonite clay. When they cap off oil wells, salt wells, they fill it with salt, bentonite.
Well,
If we put bentonite into these holes, is it worth a shot?
sure.
Would you have to lower the weight to do that, or?
No.
Well, we're going in the right direction if we have to at this
No,
point.
I mean, you can, but you
That's
don't,
what
you
they
don't know
do.
how it's getting to
I
those
thought that's
holes.
what they do, because that's what you tried on the.
Right, that's what,
the big
Whether
one.
it's
yeah,
bentonite or grout or whatever.
bentonite and clay, yeah.
Yeah,
When was that done?
Oh, years ago. I'd have to go back and see.
So did it work?
No, obviously.
Well, long-term permanent fix, no. When it was done, did it slow down these holes?
From
Obviously, the lake wasn't as empty as it was now, so
From what
something
I
else has
understand,
changed.
it did not.
I'm sorry?
From what I understand, it did not.
I mean, what's happened here, Steve, is simply that the set point in the springtime is now lower than it was. So the flow out of the lake is the same. So this, when we cut the top of the pipe off, we just set the pool level at the start of the season at a lower level.
And when it doesn't rain, it doesn't maintain.
That's correct. And that it didn't in the past either, but it started at a higher level.
Took longer to get there.
Longer to get there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the amount of flow out of the lake is essentially the same. It's just, and ODNR is okay with that as long as we keep monitoring it and that we don't see changes in what's happening. That's sort of what it says.
Right. If you don't get any color, if it stays clear, that means it's not bringing anything with it.
Correct.
Which is a good thing. I mean, well, it's not a good thing, but if indeed it starts bringing things with it, means it's eroding that underneath, and that's not a good thing. Then we'll have to act on and do something.
So is the dam seeping?
The dams always seep, you'll have some, that's what the groin drains are. You do have a groin drain on the other side, and it is running also, but, so it does seep some.
Okay. I'm just reading the report, and number one item is seepage from the dam must be controlled.
Yeah.
And that would have been a direct order from ODNR then? And did we do that?
Well, we haven't done anything, no.
So we're in violation after we were the first time, okay?
No, I don't think that's quite fair because it is controlled. We know how much is going through and we're monitoring it on an ongoing basis. They didn't tell us to stop, the flow. They recognize that there is there because believe me, if they wanted us to shut it down, they've done that already once. We've run that experiment on the big dam.
Well, I'm just,
but no,
it does say in the report you sent that seepage from the dam.
Well, I'm saying, it's a matter of semantics. It is controlled in the sense that we know what it is. There's always.
Was it controlled when they did this inspection in 2017?
Yes.
Then why did they write it up?
To point it out that it has to continue to be controlled.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so,
mean,
Now, if they wanted to give it, they would have given us a direct order to lower it and fix something.
Well, I'm kind of with Steve, and I looked above item 1 in bold. These items have been noted previously, and the appropriate time period for completion has already been exceeded.
so that means there was something there.
The owner must complete these items immediately. And number 1 is seepage must be controlled. Until repairs can be made, we must monitor it weekly. And then number 2, the dam must have a device to permit draining of the reservoir within a reasonable period of time.
And that's a siphon drain.
And I'm just, when they put in bold, these have been noted previously and the appropriate time for completion has been exceeded. That appears like they're serious.
And there's bad and worse. So bad is people that have docks sitting in the mud now with lake property. And the worst scenario is the state comes in and says, okay, we've told you once, we've told you twice, and we drain the lake. Now those people on that lake are really going to be upset as we all would be. I'm not saying we have an immediate fix here, but I think we need to make sure that we get it on the radar and start working on something there. Even if we can slow some of this down, and again, I'm not a dam expert, Rick's a pretty smart guy when it comes to plugging holes and putting things back together the way they should be. If there's something we can do to slow it. Recovering this year, I don't see it because normally we just don't see that much rain. We could set off in rain for the month of September, but generally we're not this time of the year. But I think we really need to see if we can do something prior to next spring, and then we need to look, if we need to keep that pool level a little higher, we'll have to work with the two people that had docks extended to their point of using floating docks maybe and eliminating some of that, or try to help them with that.
Okay.
Well, that would basically be an engineering study to find out what to do to fix that.
Okay, this also says that we were supposed to have an engineer come in and run through this stuff. Did we do that in 2017?
Oh, yeah.
So we have that report.
Two Element has been part of they were part of this exact exercise. They were with us as part of that, and yes,
And they were submitted to the Division of Water Resources in 2017?
Because it wasn't asked for.
This says it is. That's why I was asking.
Well, did 2LM give us recommendations based on that, what we should need to do, if anything? No. When's the next inspection? Is it a 5-year? So that would be 2021. I mean, I guess I don't want to get caught with our proverbial pants down when they come back. So maybe we need to engage.
I'm not trying to step on toes. I'm just trying to bring these points to
Maybe
light.
it's a good idea to engage 2LM and just say what based on this report and needs to be done before DNR comes back out. I think that would be money well spent to find out. Is there anything we should be doing now before they get here? So we don't get out here and they have bigger issues.
that's one.
So,
This is another one that I just want a clarification if we know. Discussion items toward the end on number 1, it's talking about the seepage, but toward the bottom, when the pool level is closer to normal pool level, which is 3 feet below the principal spillway riser. So if you say, so that was, we removed 30 inches off of that. So a normal pool is 6 inches above that. We've taken, so we're 6 below, we're a foot below a normal pool, is the way I look at that.
Yeah.
And a normal pool, it's only leaking 10 to 20 gallon per minute. So that's not horrible.
That's why I was trying to figure out where we're at and what we're at. And if you could have told both you guys understand what the pool level is. I don't think the people there know, other than the fact, normally it's this far on my dock or it's this high in this tree. That's what they know. But somewhere there's got to be some official things. And I didn't mean, your answer is correct when you say I don't know. I wouldn't expect you to know that off the top of your head. It is time for you to retire if you knew that off the top of your head.
We do know on the big lake because it's marked on the spillway. Right. In that lake, we don't have it marked out by feet above sea level like you would see in engineering.
And we're doing our monthly documented inspections and all that, so if they come in, we'll have all that stuff for them then.
Yeah.
So I think the exercise would be in September, October, we engage 2LM to look at this, maybe come out if they can before winter, and why it's at the lowest point, and give us some recommendations as far as
They know
what we need to do next year.
They know government speak.
Yeah.
And they'll know what that first bold thing.
Must and shall are pretty important words.
Yeah, and
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, I'm just trying to.
no, I'm not.
When people call you and ask these questions and I don't have the answers, I'm here to help get
I don't feel on the spot at all. I mean, it's a class 2 dam, and so the amount of intensity on ODNR with all the other things they've got is a lot less. And so this was a report that was written by a new person. First time she's ever written a report for us. And so I think that the stress words were a little more significant than they previously were. I think it's fine to bring in, and now that you've read it, you've seen it, I can bring Lindsay in. We walked away from that meeting and then a follow-up meeting with the idea that we needed to continue doing what we were doing. We could take the lake down if we wished. They had no recommendation on that. It was fine if we did it because, so that was where we left that discussion. We didn't commission them. Again, we were right then finishing up the big dam project as well. We did not commission them to do an additional study. We can certainly do that. They have been part and parcel of all the, both the documenting as well as working with us over the years. And so we have that sort of knowledge base to work with them. But I'm fine with it. I mean, I think it's, we can look into what it'll take. I've been out there, that's the second time I've been out there for the inspections, and, a problem with dams like this and with the type of, the structure that we have here, the topographic structure we have here, is that water finds ways to leak. It just goes through the rocks, and so, that was sort of, do we want to drop it completely, drop the lake completely for a period of time while we ferret out these things? That might be the only way to actually solve that problem. Well, but I'll leave that to somebody who's actually has a PE after their name, and let her speak to that.
Well, it would have to be a plan for type thing, and depending how the increase assessment comes through on that, it could become something that we want to put a plan of action in if the funding's there to do it.
Absolutely.
Now being August, soon to be September, it's kind of about that time again, and that's kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah, obviously next meeting is going to be completely, but I'll schedule it for the September meeting if you wish.
And I also, we're kind of got two different things. We have a request to go ahead and raise the siphon tube, I guess you called it. And it just appears from the report that the state had no problem with it at 30 inches, where it's 30 inches higher than it was. I'm wondering that it ought to at least be at pool level, which it seems to be a foot lower than that now. We need to determine that for sure. But I think the pipe should be at least pool level, because that's the base level of the lake, which should gain us a foot of depth at that point.
It would gain you a foot of depth for a while.
For what? Right.
As long as it rains. That's the only way water gets in.
So you said the normal pool in that report is what, 30 inches above or below
At that point, it was
36
It
below?
doesn't really say.
It just said 36 below the top of the rise.
That's why I was asking what the
So we cut 30 inches off.
Right.
So it should be another 6 inches down, right? Am I thinking right?
That is
Well, but if we're 6 inches, we're now 6 inches below the rise.
Yeah,
What we're.
well, that's what should be normal pool, right? Because it was 30, we cut 30 off, but they're saying 36 above that. So I'm thinking it's a rate of normal. I'm thinking right.
I'd have to draw it out.
Draw it. Well, let's talk to Lindsay. I think what the plan is, we can keep that in mind, because we're probably not gonna do anything till spring anyway. It's not gonna come back up, but let's talk to Lindsay about getting a study. I would rather pay for a study this fall, know we're going into the 2021 inspection before, and then that way the DNR don't get out here and surprise us, and then we all run for the proverbial hills because we got surprised with a report that says you gotta.
That's a good point.
So I'd rather know if there's actions we can take now.
What repairs did we make last summer?
We didn't make any repairs.
We've basically just been monitoring things.
Yeah.
There was a backhoe in August of 2019 doing something out there.
Yeah.
I think that dug out the spillway. That dug it, didn't that dig out?
They dug a trench so the water could get to it. That's what they did. Yeah.
That spillway
Speeding
back
up, lowering
in
the
the dam
lake.
a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
So it looks like we did a couple things to get that lake lower quicker, and that's kind of where we're at today.
Well, we had to wait before we cut that off so it was dry enough to get out there to do that. And then we had to wait till it was dry enough to get out there with the backhoe so water could get to it.
But getting water to the spillway that we cut every 30 inches off, and we lowered the level so we could get to it to make sure
Well,
that
we
we got.
didn't lower the level, we just had to wait till it was down far enough and dry enough so we could get out there with a backhoe to get the water to the spillway.
So, but we did, we trenched it out so they
Yes.
could get there.
Yes, yes,
So that in fact also added to lowering of the lake.
Quicker.
quicker.
It lowers quicker, it still would lower at the same level.
Okay.
They basically made a trench
It
around.
really hurts the recovery time when it does rain though, if it's leaking, going out quicker than it can come in.
Yes, exactly.
These are all things we need to look at.
Yeah.
And there's no fix this year, I think we are all in agreement to that, but I think we gotta get our head up on it.
Yeah, I think getting the information is, I mean, to both your questions, those are good points, because those are really strong words that were in that document, which were much stronger than the one you told us when we were there at the meeting. That's a good point.
I'm just afraid of when the boom swings the next time and it's within a year.
I mean,
And we got a budget
the
ahead
people
for
we generally work with, this was a brand new person they brought on who wrote this report. Not to say that I don't denigrate there, but it was a little different language.
All inspections are opinionated whether they use a code or
Well,
not.
the language that was there was a little more, I would say, because, yeah, when we look at it and talk with somebody afterwards, they're like, okay, fine, just keep monitoring and move on. So, but I'll let you judge for yourself. You should bring her here and have an open conversation.
Yeah, I'd like her to be able to go look at the dam before she does, make her actual real assessment, or look it over before, she doesn't have to write the whole report, but.
Well, I want to go down and look at it because I've never been there. There's no way to get it unless you know somebody and they kind of let you know how to get across.
Yeah, she's gonna do a current look to make sure that
Oh,
nothing's
no
changed.
question. See where we're at, absolutely, yeah.
Very good. Thanks for indulging my questions.
Not a problem.
All right, Frontier Phone Service.
Spoke with Spectrum, and it appears that they are going to be considerably cheaper if we want to go that route. I talked to the sales rep that we've been with for several years, and she's saying that the phone should be $30 to $45 a month. I'm looking at our breakdown, the way we are with Valtech and Frontier right now, and they're considerably higher. I mean, the one phone for administration, our main phone, or our secondary phone and our fax line are both $66 and $65 a month. The main line 4195 is 41, which is right in line with Spectrum, but I don't know why the difference in the costs of these different phones. I mean, a pool phone, which we only use for 3 months, is $65.80 a month. So I think this looks good, but I mean, I don't know how people feel about Spectrum phones.
It's just voice over internet.
Yeah.
Vote.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's going to.
Well, that's what I kind of thought. So she's willing to come in and talk to me and lay it out if we're interested in doing that.
Well,
And it may be such a thing too, that if we go that way, you won't need to have the fax line because a lot of your facsimiles and things can be scanned in and sent the same way without having to pay for an additional line writing through the check with her on that.
Okay.
So we might be able to eliminate that fax line that
Eliminate one line.
Yeah.
faxes are so 1980.
Oh, yeah,
you
I
know?
know, but there's still a lot of people using them.
Well, you can fax to.
But you can
fax to an email address.
Yeah.
It'll go right to an email address. Go over the internet.
Well,
It's not that hard.
Scan, that's what we do when we scan.
Yeah, but you can send
yeah,
faxes.
there's a service where they can still have a dial-up to fax into it, and you'll receive an email.
Okay,
You won't
but
have to have a fax machine.
my question would be, is Spectrum that better reliability? Well, our clubhouse was down for 4 days, and that's just sales going right out the door. I mean, we're gonna pay an employee, sit there, and they're not getting phone in orders, and then, not to mention one of the lines is that security irritates members. So is it, Frontier has no desire to fix things in a timely basis.
Right.
So is Spectrum that better, more reliable?
Well, I think Spectrum carries a lot more money away from Hideaway Hills residents than Frontier does.
Oh, I think so.
By far, most people are on Spectrum,
Yeah.
Spectrum TV and internet.
I'm in favor of going to Spectrum as long as we can port the numbers over and keep the same numbers. And I think it's just way more reliable than Frontiers.
And is that a 12-month deal or is that a forever kind of deal? Well, there's no forevers, but
Yeah.
Yeah, no, forever is, once you port the numbers over, you'd have to port them back to a landline, which is,
I think it's worth listening to her, what she has to say anyways.
Okay, I'll do that.
Rex and JJ, you guys got any?
Yeah, Brian, you gotta see what it is.
Doesn't hurt.
Can we put speed bumps on the lake? I see that's kind of conversation. Well, actually, after a little while, they're there anyways.
Yeah, go down there on a Saturday afternoon, you pretty much a big speed bump, especially at the north end. All right, ACH. I assume this is ACH for members to be able to pay.
Correct.
Now, is this reverse ACH where we would draft from members, or is this them initiating payments to us?
This is where we would draft from members.
So we would do a reverse ACH, which we're taking the money from our memberships that authorize it.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yes, yes. And it appears that it's going to be cheaper than the rates we pay for the credit card rate.
I would think.
No, ACH is always cheaper than credit cards, yeah.
And we had looked into this before and it was more expensive, so we didn't really go this route. But now the prices are lower, I think it's more competitive. And so this might be something we want to look at, because we've had members asking for this for quite some time.
I definitely like it. You put people on a draft. I mean, that's essentially like what the Y does, is they draft out of your account every month until you stop it, tell them no, stop. And it really is sure, you don't have people missing payments because they forgot, or they went to Florida and didn't get the mail, or, they just pay it every month. And I think absolutely stand behind this. I would like to see a committee put together next year as, like, how else can we accept payments, to help people pay their, pay. It's all about the money coming in.
I mean, members can use ACH now, which is no cost to the club. That's the only way my wife's ever paid down here every month is.
She initiates
She
the payment.
initiates on our end and sends it that way. 'Cause, I mean, nobody writes checks anymore, and I understand the credit card and the charge of that, but yeah, she just gives that direct.
You can do reverse ACH. Member signs up and says, yeah, take it right out of my account every month. You can run that draft and you pull it right out. You've got it. You got it right away. It saves a lot of time making deposits. You just got to go through the list and
The bank will set it up for you. If you want it out on the 3rd every month, they'll just set it up and the money just goes at the same time. So it's something that members can do and not cost the club if they're inclined. Some may have an issue with us doing the reverse side of it.
Well, no,
They'd have to give permission, obviously.
They have to sign a form giving you permission to do that. So you wanna, what do we need to do to get that moved?
Okay, we'll get her moved.
How many ACHs are we getting right now from people? It's gotta be going up quite a bit.
Yeah, we get quite a few. Problem with them is that it takes 5 to 7 days to get the check from the bank.
So some bill pays actually cut a check,
Right.
where this is overnight. So you process the file the next morning, it goes to the clearinghouse, you have the money.
Yeah.
So, and it's way easier for the member, like your wife wouldn't have to sit down and initiate that. It's just you sign up, yep, take it right on my account.
Yeah.
We just need to figure out how to advertise this to the membership and figure out a form for them to sign.
Yeah. Well, they'll provide that.
So we'll work with the bank and let's see what we got. But I'd love to advertise this, and I think people would like to do that just for the convenience.
Yeah, that's
The world we live in today.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Speed bump, let's talk about both speed bumps, Osage and Flathead.
Okay, we do have speed bumps on Osage. It's just on the other side of Jim Kirk's house. Well, there's a guy that wants one on this side with another speed bump in. And so,
Where at?
on Osage.
By, there's Kurt's house isn't that far down. It's
No,
about
right,
third
I
down.
know. It's before that. The guy that lives right there on the corner of Nootka and Osage, he wants a speed bump there.
It's like right next to where the other one is, isn't it?
Yeah, the other one's on down around the corner.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I thought I'd bring that to you, but I don't really think we need one there. But that's just my thought. Obviously, he thinks different. I haven't heard anybody else complaining. We have the state highway patrolman lives right across the Nootka from him, and I've never heard him say anything.
I don't
So,
know, I've never sat over there. Do we have any?
yeah, we still have some.
We have enough to put on Flathead and?
Well, the one on Flathead, the guy wants it removed.
Oh.
He asked for it here several years ago, because of people coming up around there. Now he's complaining because some workers drive through there, and every time they go over the speed bump, their tools rattle and wake him up in the morning.
I think that section is rough enough that the speed bump doesn't matter too much.
It's still gonna rattle the
We're
tools.
gonna talk about that, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna rattle through.
I don't know, what do you guys think about putting an extra one on Osage?
I'm not overly familiar with the area, but I would.
As fast as people seem to be going more and more, I'd be happy to put one every 300 yards.
I had another person say that exact thing.
The biggest problem is the speed overall.
I don't have a problem putting another one out. If you have it, I don't wanna buy one right now, but
Yeah, we've got them.
if I can get it out, Steve, you have a problem with putting another one out? Just,
We got it, there's no expense, no labor.
we move them around periodically based on, planes and just observation of speed.
You know, we can keep harping to
I mean,
people.
we had
Facebook
one
posts
right
about
over
speed,
here,
but it didn't seem to be
With a
working.
lot, not having a lot of amphitheater stuff, it didn't make sense to put them out this year, but, just try to slow people flying up through here when we have events.
Okay.
So in Flathead, he wants it taken out. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't, yeah.
Is there anybody else on Flathead who wants it? I mean, are you gonna,
He's the only one that ever seemed to want it. I mean, it's his house, and then the next house down is Jay Sauer, and.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, we can take it out. See, yeah.
is there anybody else around there that, I mean, is he the only one actually close to where the speed bump is?
Speed bump's right in front of his place. No, there's nobody else right there close. I mean, there is another house, but they're not there full time. Take it
Yeah,
out.
said JJ says rough enough, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm having that.
Right.
Or Rex, rather, sorry. All right, club insurance. Randy got forms from our insurer to fill out to renew our policy. I know, just from experience, we had trouble getting some insurance a few years ago after a lawsuit claim, and just I think we had a couple bad years, but so we finally did get with this company. My feeling on insurance, you definitely don't want to shop it every year, because if you shop it every year, the insurance companies figure it out and they punish you for that. But this would be the third year, and so we'd just renew this, and then definitely we'd want to shop it next year. Go out about every 3 to 4 years, you want to go out on the market and shop that. So I don't know anybody else's thoughts. It runs us how much a year? It's substantial.
Yeah.
93,000.
Something like that, yeah.
It's a D&O insurance, it's a liability, that's, coverage for basically all the club assets. And it's substantial money, but it's about 90 grand. So,
I thought about that the other day, and I had a question for you, Randy. I was actually emailing you and forgot, so I'm glad you brought it up. So the Lake Community Association or whatever, has there ever been a thought, or is it a strong enough organization that can band together and go together on insurance?
We've talked about that. Matter of fact, we had Cincinnati Insurance in one year to talk about that. And when we were in the middle of shopping this from the previous company, I had them folks take a look at ours. I sent what we had to them, And they took a look at it, and for some reason or other, never got back with me. I have no idea why not. I was kind of disappointed, because when this company, Overmeyer and Hall, came to me, they said, well, we have Cincinnati Insurance. I said, oh, wait a minute. We tried to shop our whole program to them, and they never even got back with me. And he
May
said,
have been because they were also an agent.
well, that's what he said. It was probably the agent.
Well, I just didn't know if that association of lake communities together,
Yeah, we've tried that, it just hasn't worked out.
because it's not getting cheaper for any of us.
No, I know. Yeah, we talked about that. It just,
What kills you is like in DNO, you get a lawsuit, and
yeah,
your employees and your directors or anybody on this committee can get named. You got to have insurance to cover that, and that kind of hammered. We couldn't get that for a little while. We were kind of paying a little fretful about that. So, frankly, nobody would want to serve on any of these committees if we didn't have that. So,
I would agree we hold for a year.
hold for a year. We'll definitely want to reshop this.
If it's due
2021.
now, it's kind of hard to shop it now.
Yeah.
well, due in November.
I definitely make sure when you work with your predecessor, he knows.
List of things to do.
Yeah, give him to do, saying, well, you need to go start shopping this in May for your August renewal.
Yes.
So,
Can't live without it.
all right, lake concerts, security concerns. So the board has approved, September 5th for another concert. That concert will be off the deck, basically just around the corner from where Buc-ee's is in the Beach Cove, basically on the main part of the lake. So they are going to shut the lake down to no wake only from 2 to 7 on that Saturday of Labor Day. So let's talk about the first concerts in John Blankenship's dock. It's in the Beach Cove, or the North Park Cove area, which is all no wake already, so I don't really see a problem there. My concern is there's going to be a lot of people in the water, making sure we have lake patrol down there and strictly enforcing no wake on the boats. A lot of people don't understand what no wake is, but we can't have people speeding through there on jet skis or boats. It's going to have to be strictly enforced. I guess what other concerns do you have, or security on that? We got concerts 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to shut the main lake down for that concert. It's far enough back that there's plenty of room.
Well, security concern is people at concerts on the lake and the alcohol situation. And you could possibly have a problem with somebody that's inebriated falling in the water and nobody knows it. And that's what security's main concern is, and the fact of if indeed somebody does fall in the water, of how they would get to them. And so, I mean, it's a valid concern. I mean, you're gonna have a whole lot of people there, all on the lake, all together, and
I just from the standpoint of getting somebody out of there EMS wise, there's enough members that get them out to North Park or North Dock, or I'm not concerned about that. I mean, there's always a concern of somebody falling in, and I guess if security sees someone acting completely out of control, we're gonna try to get them off the lake. Unfortunately, that's
if they can go.
if they get to them. I mean, we're just trying to police it the best we can, but I think most members watch out for other members pretty good. That's where I would stand with that one.
Yeah,
There is a valid concern, we just need to watch out for each other.
I think the north end one is pretty, I mean, I checked with both the county as well as our attorney, and they had no problem with the idea of us having these concerts, as long as, I mean, by the fact that they're on boats, then there is social distancing that people will have to maintain themselves doing that. When we did the one 2 years ago, I mean, it was really wall to wall. You could almost walk from one side of the lake to the other with pontoon boats there. I mean, so again, if there was an emergency, how we handle it would be a bit of a scramble, but I think to Jim's point, that's pretty well taken. There would be enough people there who and not everyone will be, you know, to the point where they can't help one another on it. So that one doesn't. I mean, I think the one down in front of the Saxton's place, which is right between Dave Miller and Bucky's place. So on that end, I was actually out there yesterday. I mean, jet skis will make noise, but if we really did want to leave part of the lake further north, you know, from say the first cove, not the beach cove, but the second cove, from that part up, if you wanted to have people up there that you were allowing them to be on the lake, that would be, I mean, I think that's manageable. You could do that if you really wish not to close the whole lake. You know, the lake where I grew up, how the lake was closed 3 nights a week for fishing. You probably have liked that.
Yeah.
But I mean, so, and you would close it for special events, and this is one. And I talked to a couple people after Jim had sent me a note, a couple other people, and it was just, the whole idea was, you know, the social committee hasn't been able to do anything this summer, and they really wanted to do sort of an end of the summer, something different. And so, based upon that, I mean, if we wanted to only split, if we want to split the lake or not, I mean,
I don't know how you're gonna police that.
I don't know how you're
You can't
gonna
tell, you can't just allow it and.
I guess I would have rather seen it in one of the coves so we could try to continue. You know, I hate shutting the lake down on a holiday weekend.
It is
People
sad.
have families down from 2 to 7 and suddenly you can't take the kids tube and kind of.
I agree. I mean, it's a sacrifice. It really is. But it is Saturday afternoon, so hopefully.
Well, security concerns, again, if we're gonna shut it down, I mean, we gotta have somebody out there the whole time to make sure it's lit. Communicate, no way.
We've already.
I mean, because people are gonna be just parking out there and we got, you know, somebody comes barreling up through there, it's gonna get ugly quick. And that's considerably deeper than, you know, down in the north end area.
Yeah, because in front of my house, the deepest it gets is about 9 feet. I mean, that's the deepest it gets from one side to the other. I know that because I walked out in the middle and put my hand.
Yeah.
And then that's as deep as it gets. I mean, so you got plenty of place there for people. Once you get a little further than you get down to Dryden's, it's probably where the old Dryden place was, it's probably 10 to 12 feet deep there. And then it drops off like it goes.
Yeah.
Out in front of where this other place is gonna be, the water's gonna be 25 feet deep.
Yeah.
That's a deep area of the lake. I mean, it really is. It's very steep.
So
We
we
work
definitely
pretty
need to make
well.
sure we got security for both those events and.
We have manpower up, right? I remember, I think last meeting you said we were good, we'd lost one, but we've got, the new young man I met the other day.
Yeah, and he'll be up and running by then, yeah.
Okay.
So we will.
Any other concerns we need to think through? I mean, we're just gonna, like, the board's already voted to shut the lake down, so it's, you know, I'd rather go that route than half the lake.
Yeah.
It's just, the lake's short enough and somebody's trying to do tubing and do a short loop and then it's gonna.
And it is holiday weekend, so most people also have Sunday they can enjoy there too, and so hopefully it won't be a function for too many people.
Okay.
And it worked pretty well with the Childers one because we did carve out that whole edge of the lake. I mean, and this is very close to it. I mean, we're talking about a few more feet.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody will be happy with it. For those of you who are interested, it's just the end of the third overtime and still 5-2.
So we need to step it up here a little bit. I'd like to watch the fourth.
Yeah, we got about 18 minutes. Have to get home. I'm kidding.
How about PC 4 overtime?
Right, 2020 Enterprises chip and seal contract.
He got back to your end?
Nope.
Does he not want to work?
That's gonna kind of kibosh our program here.
Yeah.
But, have you tried calling him repeatedly?
I have, I called, I've left messages, I emailed.
Cell phone number for this guy?
I think that number that I have is a cell phone, I'm not sure.
I've emailed him,
Yeah.
I've called him.
Yeah.
Randy's called him. I just sent him a formal note via email.
Okay.
That if we don't have a written proposal in hand by Friday morning, he can consider not coming. And he may have enough work he doesn't want to, but, I'm not spending $100,000 without,
No,
without a signed quote, so.
Okay. So that's what you wanna make the deadline this Friday?
Well, he's gonna wanna start hauling rock within a week, and you need time to look at the contract and sign it.
Okay.
He gave us the dates that he could be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're going by his
after-
schedule.
Right after the holiday.
Right.
And he's gonna call you here any day wanting a spot in your yard to dump rock.
Right.
And
that's what he's got a contract.
I guess if he wants to dump rock, we'll take it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you didn't duck Creek, did you?
I'll do that.
Okay, security boats and cars with no passes. So, Steve, you brought this up. I will say, I have personally seen several boats on the lake this year, and a lot of it is, Grumpy Rogers does a great job of following, looking for stickers and lot numbers, and we just haven't had him out there. But I'm seeing a lot of jet skis get put on the lake, and boats get put on the lake with no lot numbers, no stickers. You're kind of taking advantage of that situation. So, Steve, would
Well, you talked the last time, from the guard shack, so on the weekend, even if it's on a busy weekend or the weather stays good like this, and I know it's all about timing and things, but if they're there watching those gates, and if there's two of them sitting in there, if they see somebody pull up there with a trailer and a boat, it seems like we could run up there and make sure that it is, properly stuck. Again, we're not trying to pick on security, tell them they're lazy or anything like this, just if they could watch it visually. They're generally sitting there and looking out that way anyways. It's pretty simple to see a car, a truck, and a trailer going up there. And just make sure, because, here we're back to this thing. The rest of us go play by the rules, and we've heard enough about that crap lately, so I guess I'd just like to make sure, it's the same thing there. And, the no guest pass things and, stickers and stuff like this, when you still see green stickers and black stickers, and you don't see the pink ones we're all supposed to have. And I know it's a monumentous chore. I hope we can get that tightened up with an increase, but.
So what they do if somebody comes in that has a last year's decal and doesn't have a current decal, they'll stop them and make them take a hang tag, and that's what's annoying, but there's not a whole lot else that they can do.
if we get their license plate number, can we match it up, or can we get their member number? Can you send
So
a
if they
letter
give them a
saying,
hand
"Hey, you
tag,
need to
they write
register
the
your-
license number down.
You need to register your vehicle."
It might be a good idea, because if we end up with somebody, you don't know, holiday weekends, you could get a lot of extra traffic in. If they could catch a license plate off the camera, if there's two of them in there, and the other one's passing it out.
Well, you don't get a license plate off the camera in the at the member gate. You can at the guest gate, you can't at the member gate.
Well, if they don't have a sticker, why are they going through the member gate?
Well, no, they don't if they don't have a sticker. I'm talking about a 19 decal instead of a 20 decal. Yeah,
They should be coming through the visitor.
They'll shoot through the
I know,
thing to get.
because sometimes we get tied up because of packages and everything else, and the gate gets left open. I know that too.
Or they just put it up.
I agree that we could do a better job.
It's just way too many, when you drive around, especially coming up around, and when I go around up his place and up there, and the road's tight, and there's cars back there, and I go by and there's no stickers, there's no hang tag. These things are half or 3/4 out in the middle of the road, and, I know parking's a problem down here.
Yeah.
But I just think we need to really be diligent of making sure those that are here should be here.
Yeah, I agree.
And if there is a problem, it'd be nice to have our license plate number for somebody if we know who we passed hang tags out to that weekend.
Well, we do. The ones we put, the non-members who we give hang tags to, we do take their license plate number. So we do have those, because that's a guest, it's not a member. It's the members that we don't take their license plate numbers.
And again, I've said it before and volunteered before. I mean, I would take a 2-hour shift and pull them side by side between the two gates, and if that case happens, I'll write the license plate numbers down.
Yeah,
Then you should look on the list,
yeah,
and a letter should be sent to that member
oh, yeah.
and say, this is a procedure you need to follow.
Yeah.
Because if we get an increase and we can go to another security system on gates, we've got to start playing by this right now. They might as well get used to it. It is a closed community, and that's why we bought it.
Right.
And the security has got to be
Yeah.
still a top priority. I can't see all these cars running by. And the boats, we sit there and just watch them go by with no lot numbers, no stickers.
Yeah. Hoping we get Lake Patrol back out there, we can start policing, getting some incident reports and letters to people. But what I would ask, we were to talk to Randall, is like, if the guys are there for patrolling, or they're both in the office, and they see a boat going up toward the ramp, just jump in the truck and hop up there and make sure that it's got lot numbers and a current registration on it, so people aren't taking advantage of our lake.
How many people do we have on the waiting list now for docks?
50.
Remember when we got 12 docks, and when we redid the dam, we thought we'd cover it.
We did for a year.
I mean, is it a real 50? Because there's always been a fair number of people wanting one specific dock and
Trying to upgrade where they're at.
Yeah, I can't tell you that. I don't know.
that it's a real number.
It's a real weight though. And then people are like 12 and they're getting anticipating, hey, I'm gonna need to think about getting a boat, but.
We're telling them it could be a couple seasons before they get it off.
Have we had people that have been on the list all summer and have not gotten a dock?
Oh, yeah.
It's around 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to inhibit anybody that's a member, but I just don't want to see, our lake crowded up. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, agreed.
But we looked at this before, there's really no room for more docks, and there's really, the lake's already crowded enough.
Unless, I mean, you could maybe add another 4 at the end of each.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I know we
We don't
did.
really want, it's just more,
Traffic.
More traffic.
Farther out into the lake too.
I'm seeing going around fishing, even the lake, a lot of lake members, like Jim, he's got one, but I'm seeing people with, 2 to 3 boats in each lake house. So the number of boats out there in the 9 years I've been here is drastically increased.
Yeah, I heard somebody ask me that I let them rent, a dock, or don't rent my dock, or, one side of it. You just don't want to do that.
I don't mean you just don't want the privacy.
But, yeah, no, I mean, that's good. Yes. I suggested my wife, and she said, no. What are you even asking me for? No.
All right, I have one more thing. We ever getting rid of the cars sitting on club property on Mayo Lane? I didn't walk down there yet.
Well, we sent him another letter. From what I understand, from what Randall said, he is not there. Adam is not there. And so it's just Chrissy, and Randall was gonna talk to her if he was able to catch her and ask her if it was okay to bring a wrecker in to haul them out. Well, what I understand, what Dalton told him is they're afraid of a civil suit. If indeed they haul them and then get sued.
How would you get sued for towing them off private property?
That's just what they said.
Well, I think, let's try to meet.
We gave her a deadline.
Okay,
Yeah.
she didn't meet the deadline and we can't get a hold of her. I think we need to contact some of the towing companies
Yes,
and get these
absolutely.
things off our property.
Absolutely. And that's what we said in the letter too.
So, all right. And that's kind of what towing companies do. They tow cars off of private property.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, anybody else got anything you want to bring up? Good. For the good of the community?
I'm good.
I'm good.
You're taking them off.
Yeah.
Vote for the assessment increase on Sunday.
Please, watch my video. I need more likes.
Apparently. She said, I wish I could take my, vote back now.
I just responded to that, hopefully.
I know.
But
I'll need some setup.
we're just gonna, I look at it like this, we're just gonna be honest. We're gonna tell people what we're gonna do, and that's what we're gonna do, and that's where the chips fall.
But I don't know, are we gonna set up outside, inside? I know
The weather